Well, you can't talk for too long about the Super Nintendo without talking about the Mega Drive. Most people when I was young would have one or the other. I was one of the exceptions to this rule. I got a Mega Drive first, and then later I got a SNES. I like to think this made me less biased. I was willing to see the strengths of both machines, willing to recognise good games on both platforms. Okay, well, there's a reason I bring this up. The SNES game I played today to review was Tazmania. The game featuring Taz the Tasmanian Devil from the Warner Brothers Bugs Bunny cartoons and later his own show Tazmania. This was one of those cases where there were games bearing the same name which came out for the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive more or less around the same sort of time frame, but they were actually totally different games developed by different studios. Sometimes this turns out for the best because it means that both machines get something tailored to their own strengths, as opposed to a game being made for one and then ported over to the other, sometimes poorly. You've got a machine that can take into a game that can take into account a machine's limitations and its strengths. Well, Tazmania on the Mega Drive was a 2D side-scrolling platform adventure game which was developed by Recreational Brainwave and published by Sega. Tazmania on the SNES was a very different beast. It was made by Sunsoft. So, in the SNES Tazmania, in each level, Taz must race against time to eat a set number of kiwi birds. A number which if he does not manage to eat, well, you'll lose. Enemies will attempt to stop Taz by running over him, bumping into him. In other levels, you run up the road in a fashion a little bit like a car game, and you run up and you can jump and you can spin, and all in an attempt to try and catch these little birds while avoiding the perils. The graphics are nice and bright with a big Taz sprite who's full of character. This instantly makes you want to like the game because, you can just see there's so much of Taz in there. The problem is, once you've played for a while, it all feels rather soulless. There's a lot of reasons for this. I think one is the fact that the controls feel very floaty. I never felt like I was properly in control of Taz. If I managed to catch the birds or not seems to be based more on luck than any level of skill I did or didn't possess. Now, any game which makes you feel like you're winning or losing based on your level of luck is off to a bad start, because it's only going to make you bored even quicker. Add to this the fact that every level in the game is the same. They're all just running up the road looking for birds. Sure, more gets thrown in, rivers to jump, extra enemies, but it all just feels like the same, and it still feels like it relies on luck. So, as I said, the Mega Drive has got a platform game. It wasn't the best platform game in the world, but it scored very highly back in the day. I'm talking around 80% odd. But in retrospect, I'm not sure it's that good. In fact, to me, it's a 75% kind of game. Good, but forgettable. But now, having played the SNES one and having had a quick go on the Mega Drive one as well, the Mega Drive one seems so much better. Now, you can see why Sunsoft avoided the platformer route and went for something original, something a bit different. It was a brave decision and one I commend them on, but I just don't think it pays off. If this bird-eating racing had served as one type of play in a game, like if it had been an almost Sonic 2 style bonus level, with platforming levels in the middle, it would have been a lot easier to swallow. But on its own, it just doesn't do it. Now, if I had to give the SNES Tazmania a score, well, out of 10, I'd give it 3 out of 10. It is perfectly playable, it's just not very fun. It doesn't have much to bring you back to it. Sure, some people would argue that it deserves more because it has good graphics and technically there's nothing wrong for it to deserve a score this low. But games are supposed to be fun. They're supposed to draw you in and make you want to spend your time on them. And if they fail to do this, then they just fail in general, no matter what else you can say that's positive about them. I paid £5 for an American cart of this game, and you can even get a British or American one for around £8 last time I looked. Heck, I've seen a fully boxed PAL copy online for £13 before, but I wouldn't recommend anyone to spend £8, to be fair. It's not how bad it is, it's what you could do with the money. There's some other things you could spend the cash on. For example, if you had a Mega Drive, you can get boxed PAL copies of the Mega Drive version complete from sort of £5 to £10. And of course there's all kinds of other SNES games, but and even some quite decent modern games that you'll get on the cheap. This one's just one worth giving a miss. Anyway, thank you very much. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!